Welcome to WP None, the WordPress Experience channel. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced developer, I have something fascinating to offer. Imagine a pageless WordPress. And when I say pageless, I don't mean there are no pages at all, but only the vital pages, each with a specific purpose. Let's take for example the login and password reset process, where a new page has to be rendered at every stage of the way, and I find it tedious. So, in this video, I would like to offer you a solution for combining this process into one set of pop-ups, with just one empty page, for the final reset action. I will use the free Hello Elementor theme, 6 plugins, and a few code snippets that can be downloaded via the links in the description. Out of the 6 plugins, Elementor, Visibility Logic for Elementor and Code Snippets are free and available from the WordPress repository. The paid plugins, Elementor Pro and WS Form Pro with User Management add-on, are linked below this video and are essential for this method. If you believe that the same results can be achieved using different plugins or page builders, please share your findings in the comments below. So, if you are ready, let me take you through this tutorial step by step, and please ask your questions or leave your comments along the way. Part 1: Framework and Basics. Let me start with a short description of the development environment in which I am working. The Varying Vagrants, or VVV for short, is a free solution for developing WordPress sites. It comes with the Mailhog with which I will be testing email notifications. Within my local installation of VVV, I will try out the Mailhog functionality by creating a new subscriber, as I will use this account later for testing my forms. I will set the username as user, and the email address as user@wplogin.none. This email is based on my local domain within the VVV framework. I will set a simple password, confirm its use, and leave the Send User notification box as checked. If I click on Add New User, WordPress should dispatch 2 emails, so let's look at the Mailhog now. And indeed, I now have 2 emails in their corresponding mailboxes. The administrator received a notification about the new user registration. And the user received a URL link to the default password reset page. Back in our WordPress panel, with all plugins installed and activated, let me outline the roadmap for our project. First, we will build 3 forms, using WS Form Pro and the User Management add-on. These 3 forms will replace the WordPress default forms for the user login, the password reset request and the password reset form. Then, we will generate a simple site header, using the Elementor theme builder, with the site's title as our logo, and 2 buttons for login and logout. We will use the Elementor Pro pop-up builder to create 3 modal pop-ups, which will contain our 3 forms. Now that we know where we are going, let's set the basics. First, we will create a landing page, where users will be directed when clicking on the password reset link. This page will have no content and serve as a trigger for our future reset pop-up. It will also form a part of the reset URL, which will deliver the user login credentials to be handled by the reset form. You can name this page however you wish. For this tutorial I will name it XYZ, and set its template as Elementor Canvas. Let's publish our page. Now let's import the required code snippets using the Code Snippets plugin. Select Import from the Snippets menu, then upload and import our JSON file named WP None Login Required Snippets. Once imported, click on All Snippets to see all installed snippets. Our 4 newly added snippets will be numbered, and have WP None in their titles. As our last preset, we will adjust the settings of Visibility Logic for Elementor. Since we will be activating our snippets one by one during our project, let's open the Visibility Logic settings in a new browser tab by hovering over WordPress settings, right-clicking on Visibility Logic, and selecting Open Link in New tab. In the Settings panel of Visibility Logic, we will switch off all elements except for the user role, then save the changes. All basic settings are now set, so let's dive in. Part 2. 3 Forms and Login Fields. Let's create our 3 required forms. From the WS Form menu, add New, and click on the tab named User Management. We are interested in the login template, so let's select it. At this stage, we will name it as Login Form, then publish it. We will repeat this process for our second form, but use the Forgot Password template. Name it as Forgot Form and publish it. We will use the Reset Password template for our third form. Name it Reset Form, then publish it. Now that we have our 3 forms to work with, let's edit the login form first. This form will be positioned within our future login pop-up. First, we want our users to log in with their email address and not the username, so let's replace the first text field with the email type. Click on the Field Settings gear icon to reveal the Clone and Delete buttons. Delete the username field, then drag the email field from the Toolbox panel in its place, and click on the gear icon again to open the Field Settings panel. To keep our form looking slim, we will hide the email label, make it required, and type in email as the placeholder. We will set the autocomplete section to off for extra security, and save the field. Please note that in WS Form, we always have to save the edited field before moving on to the next. In the password field, as before, we will hide the label, and use the placeholder instead. We will set the autocomplete section to off, and in the Features section, tick the box for Password Visibility toggle. Let's save the password field. For simplicity, let's remove the Remember Me checkbox. Let's also edit the Submit button by spelling login as a single word. Click on the Save and Close button to save all fields. Now, let's publish our form and preview it. The form looks pretty good, with field error checks working correctly, but we need to enhance it with more features. Part 3. Login extra fields. Let's add more fields to our form. In the Toolbox panel, click on the HTML field in the Content section to place it at the end of the form. Hover over the new field, and click on its gear icon to reveal the Field Settings panel. First, we will change its label to Reset and Cancel. Then, let's expand the panel's view, paste our HTML code in the content area, and examine the code. There are 2 lines of text within the paragraph, each enclosed within span tags and separated by space and divider. The first line contains the reset text, and has 3 CSS classes assigned to it. The first class, WP None _Forgot _Popup, will act as a trigger to open the Forgot Password pop-up, enabling users to reset their password. The second class, WP None _Close _Popup, will trigger the closing of the login pop-up, and later we will activate a code snippet to power up this class with its functionality. The third class, WP None _Link _Style, sets the style of our form links, and we will activate the associated styling snippet in a minute. The second line containing the cancel text has the Close pop-up class and the link style class. We will use the cancel link instead of the close button for the login pop-up. For now, let's click on Save and Close button and preview our form. We can see reset and cancel text, but they do not behave like links. Keeping the Preview tab opened, we can fix this by activating our first code snippet. In the previously opened Browser tab with all snippets listed, click on the toggle switch button next to the WP None WS Form Link Style CSS snippet. This snippet defines the WP None _link _style CSS class and declares it in the header of our site. Now that the snippet is activated, let's refresh the form preview window to see that everything looks and behaves as expected. As our second field, we need to add a custom error message to be displayed in the event if the user email, password, or both do not match with database records. This message will replace the default WordPress login error message. In the Toolbox panel's Content section, click on the message field to place it at the bottom, then move it to the very top of our form. Open the Field Settings panel. Name it Error Message. Make it hidden, set the type as Danger, and the content as Wrong Credentials, Try Again. We are hiding this error message by default, for it will be triggered to display by conditional logic which we will set up later. Let's save and close all fields. Now that we added our custom error message, we need to prevent WordPress from displaying its default message for this form. To achieve this, let's click on the gear icon in the top icons menu to open the Form Settings panel, scroll down to the Errors section, and uncheck the box Show Server-Side Error Messages. Whilst still in the Settings panel, let's tick the box Enable Form Submit on Enter, to enable the form submission using the keyboard's Enter key. Let's save and close the form settings. Now that we have completed setting all our fields, let's publish the form to save all changes and move on to editing form actions. Part 4: Login Actions and Logic. Click on the lightning icon in the Icons menu above the form to review and edit form actions. To view the content of the preset user management action, click on the gear icon next to the action's name. With this action, we check that the submitted email and password match with their corresponding registered records. In the Field Mapping section Mapping Table, the Form field column on the left corresponds with the submitted data, whilst the User field column on the right corresponds with the data stored in the database. Looking at the table, we need to remap the fields since we have changed the username field and removed the Remember Me checkbox. Let's remap the fields automatically by clicking on the Auto Map icon above the table. The expected result should give us 2 mapping rows. The email field should be mapped with username or email address in the first row, and the password field should be mapped with password in the second. Any other mapping rows apart from those mentioned above should be removed. Once the fields are mapped correctly, let's first save this action, then close it by clicking on the gear icon again. Let's add a second action, which will display the success message on successful login. Click on the plus icon to add a new action, name it Success Message, and select Show Message from the Actions list. In the Content area, let's add our custom message, Success, Redirecting. In the Show Duration field below, enter 2000 for a 2 seconds delay before redirection. Let's save this action, then close it by clicking on the gear icon. Now, we want to handle user redirection after a successful login, based on user role. To achieve this, let's add a new action and name it User Redirect. In the list of actions there is already one named Redirect, and if we select it we will find that this is a regular redirect, regardless of the user's role or any other condition. WS Form Pro offers us an option to create actions using the WordPress default hooks or custom hooks and functions. Let's select the option named Run WordPress Hook. Using the filter hook type, we need to specify the hook tag, and for this, we will activate our second code snippet. In the previously opened Snippets Browser tab, click on the toggle switch button next to the snippet named WP None, WS Form Login Redirect PHP. You can review this snippet in detail later, and I placed my explanatory comments inside the code. Essentially, on successful login, this snippet identifies user roles and redirects administrators to the admin dashboard and all other roles to the home page. Let's copy WP None _redirect _hook from the snippet's description, and, back in our form actions, let's paste our hook tag in the hook tag field, then save and close all actions. Our last addition to this form will be the conditional logic to display our earlier added custom error message and clear the form. Let's open the conditional logic panel by clicking on the double-headed arrow in the icons menu above the form. Click on the plus icon to add a new condition and name it error message. Under the if label, select form as the object to be checked and submit error as the event. Under the then label, click on the plus icon, select the error message we created earlier, then choose set visibility and visible as the status. Under the then label again, click on the plus icon and select form as the object, then choose clear as action. Remove everything under the else label if it is automatically generated. Let's save and close all conditions, publish our form and preview it. Now, let's enter a dummy email and any password, then submit the form. All looks well, and our custom error message displays as expected. The login form is now complete, and we can move on to editing our next form. Part 5. Forgot fields. The forgot form will handle the user request to reset the password, and be positioned within our future forgot pop-up. From the All Forms page, let's open our forgot form for editing. First, open the Help Text Settings panel and change the content to read, "Please enter your registered email address to initiate a password reset request." Let's save this field. Similarly to our login form, we will replace the username text field with the email type. We will hide the label, make it required, set the placeholder as registered email, set the autocomplete section to off, and save the field. We will change the submit button label from get new password to submit, then save and close all fields. Let's add our extra fields just like we did with our login form. First, add a new HTML field below the submit button and name it login and cancel. Let's expand the field panel view and paste our HTML code. As you can see, the code is almost identical to the code we used in our login form, except that within the first span tags, we have the login as a backlink triggering the login pop-up, instead of the reset link for the forgot pop-up. Click on Save and Close to save the field and minimize the view. Now let's add our custom error message, which will replace the default WordPress message and display if the submitted email address is not registered in our database. In the Toolbox panel's Content section, click on the message field, then move it to the very top of our form. Open the Field Settings panel, name it Error Message, make it hidden, set the type as Danger, and the content as Wrong Credentials, Try Again. Let's save and close all fields. Now we need to disable the WordPress default notifications and enable the Enter Key form submission. Click on the Form Settings gear icon at the top, and in the Form section, tick the box Enable Form Submit on Enter, then scroll down to the Errors section and uncheck the box Show Server-Side Error Messages. Save and close the form settings. Let's publish the form to save all changes, and move on to form actions. Part 6. Forgot Actions and Logic. Click on the Actions lightning icon in the Icons menu above to see the preset actions. Let's expand the view and examine each action. First, let's edit the user management action by clicking on the gear icon next to the action's name. With this action, we check the input from the registered email field against all registered email addresses in the database. If the email address is registered, the form will proceed. If the email address is unknown, the form will halt and display our custom error message, which we will configure via conditional logic later. In the field mapping section, we need to remap the email field in the left column to correspond with the username or email address on the right. Click on the double arrow icon to map the field automatically. Once the email field is mapped correctly, let's remove the first unsigned mapping row, save the action and close. Let's open and analyze the send email action. With this action, on successful submission, an email will be sent to the user, containing the short code for the password reset link, which in its current format, would take the user to the default WordPress reset page. And since we want the users to be directed to our previously created XYZ page, we need to alter the reset link shortcode. Create a new paragraph at the end of the message, and click on the burger icon on the right-hand side above the message content area. Scroll down towards the end of the list, and in the user section, select the lost password URL option. The new short code is almost identical to the old above, except for the added word path in brackets. Let's replace the word path with XYZ in lowercase letters, followed by the /. We can now delete the old short code, save the action, then close it. Let's open and edit the show message action. Within the show message action, we need to change the content of our message. The new message should read, "Success, please check your email for the password reset link, redirecting." In the show duration field below, enter 3000 for a 3 seconds delay before redirection. Once done, save the changes and close the action. Now, let's redirect our users to the home page after the success message has been displayed. Let's add a new action, and name it User Redirect. Select Redirect from the actions list, and, for the URL field, click on the burger icon, scroll down to the blog section, and select the URL option. Once done, click Save and close to save all changes. Before we complete the forgot form, let's add conditional logic to display our custom error message. The process is identical to how we did it with the login form. Open the conditional logic panel by clicking on the double-headed arrow in the icons menu above the form. Click on the plus icon to add a new condition, and name it error message. Under the if label, select form as the object to be checked, and submit error as the event. Under the then label, click on the plus icon and select error message. Then select set visibility, and choose visible as the status. Under the then, again, click on the plus, select form as the object, and clear as action. Remove everything under the else label if anything was generated automatically. Save and close the conditional logic panel, publish the form and preview it. If we submit a dummy email address, the form will display our custom error message. Our forgot form is now complete, and we can move on to editing our last, reset form. Part 7, Reset Fields Review. From the All Forms page, let's open our reset form for editing. This is a more complex form than the previous two. Let's analyze its preset fields. The help text field instructs the user to enter the new password. Then there is the new password field, followed by the new password confirmation. Then there are two hidden fields. The first one will contain the user's login name, also referred to as the username. The second will contain the unique reset key, auto-generated during the forgot form submission, and saved in the database for each request session. The username and the unique key will form a part of the reset URL link. This link will be sent to the user on forgot form submission, and both keys will be checked against the database records after the user clicks on the link and reaches the XYZ page. The last field is the Reset Password button. Now that we have examined all fields, let's edit this form to match our requirements. Part 8. Reset Edit Fields. We will be setting two sections for this form. The first section will contain the form fields, and the second section will contain the response messages. This separation is required because we will hide the form fields whilst displaying the messages, and it is easier to hide sections than individual fields. Later, we will use conditional logic to make it all functional. First, let's give the existing section a more definitive name by hovering over it, just above the Help text field, and clicking on the gear icon to open the section settings panel. Let's name it as Form Section and save it. Now, let's delete the Help text field to keep our form simple. In the New Password field, let's hide the label, set the placeholder as New Password, set the Autocomplete section to off, and in the Features section, uncheck the Password Strength Meter box, and tick the box for Password Visibility toggle. Let's save the field. Let's do the same for the New Password Confirmation field. Hide the label, set its placeholder as New Password Confirmation, set the Autocomplete section to off, uncheck Password Strength Meter, and tick Password Visibility toggle. Let's save the field. We will edit the two hidden fields purely for our reference and the ease of using these fields later. Let's rename the Login field as Login Key, and save it. Rename the Reset Password Key field as Reset Key, and save it. In this instance, we don't need to worry about setting the autocomplete sections to off, since the data in these hidden fields is passed not via the front-end input, but the URL link. We will change the Submit button label from Reset Password to Reset, then click Save and Close to save all fields and open the Toolbox panel. Let's add an HTML field for the Cancel link below the Submit button, redirecting users to the home page if they remember their password at the last minute. Name this field as Cancel. Paste our code in the HTML area and save this field. Now, we will add two messages within a separate section container. Below the form, click on the plus icon to add a new section. Name it as Message Section. Then click Save and Close. Add two HTML fields to our message section. Name the first HTML field as Invalid Message, and set it as hidden by default. We are hiding this message field, for it should be displayed only in the event of an invalid session, which usually happens in one of four cases. 1. If the user clicks on an expired reset link, set to the time limit of 24 hours by default. 2. If the user clicks on a previously used link. 3. If the user requests to reset the password twice or more within the time limit, and clicks on a link preceding the latest one. And 4. There are discrepancies in the reset URL. Let's expand the message panel view. And in the content area, let's paste our HTML code informing the user of the invalid password reset request, with two links below the message. The first link, Generate New Request, opens the Forgot Password pop-up, enabling users to request a new password reset link, whilst the second link, Cancel, redirects to the home page. Click on Save and Close to save this field and minimize the view. Open the Settings panel of our second HTML field, and rename it as Success Message. Let's set it hidden by default, for it will be displayed only on successful submission. Let's expand the view, and in the content area, let's paste our HTML code message that reads, Your password has been reset, with two links below, one for the home page, and one for triggering the login pop-up, where users can log in using their new password. Click on Save and Close to save this field and minimize the view. Let's publish our form to save all changes and move on to the form actions. Part 9. Reset Actions. Click on the lightning icon in the icons menu above the form to view the preset actions. Let's open the User Management action. In the Field Mapping section, WS Form Pro should have automatically mapped all fields, and the only amendment we would need to make is to remove the top mapping row for the Help text field which we deleted earlier. Just in case the fields require remapping, here is our guide. There should be only 4 mapping rows in the table. The first 2 rows must contain new password and new password confirmation fields, mapped with their corresponding cells on the right. The third row must contain the login key field, mapped with the login cell. And the fourth row must contain the reset key field, mapped with the cell for reset password key. Once everything is in order, let's save the user management action and close it. Since we already have our 2 custom messages, we can remove the show message action from the list. We now need to add an action to redirect visitors to the home page if the XYZ password reset page is accessed not via the reset URL, but directly. Let's add a new action and name it User Redirect. Select Redirect from the Actions list, and for the URL field, click on the burger icon, scroll down to the blog section and select the URL option. Since we will be triggering this action via conditional logic, we must uncheck the Form Submitted box below the question when should this action run. Let's save and close all actions, and publish our form to ensure all changes are saved, and move on to the conditional logic. Part 10. Reset Logic. Click on the double-headed arrow icon in the top icons menu to open the Conditional Logic Settings panel. There is already a preset condition, Check Passwords Match, so let's open its content to see what it does. It checks for matching input in password fields. If they do not match, an error message, Passwords do not match is displayed. If both passwords match, the action under the else label clears the validation and allows the form to continue. So let's leave this condition untouched and close it. Let's expand the view to make it easier to add more conditions. Our first new condition will control the form behavior when the XYZ password reset page is accessed directly. Let us add a new condition and name it Blank Keys. Under the If label, select Login Key to be checked. Then select Is Blank as its value. Click on the plus icon directly under the Login Key field, and under the Or label, select Reset Key to be checked and Is Blank as its value. Now click on the plus icon under the Then label, select Action User Redirect, and choose Run Immediately. Click on the plus icon again, choose Form Section, then select Set Visibility to be set as hidden. Let us review the above. We check whether the URL, via which the XYZ page is accessed, contains a username and the unique reset key. If at least one key is missing, we immediately redirect to the home page whilst hiding the form. We can remove any events under the else label if auto-generated. Let's save this logic, close it, and move it to the top of the list. Our second new condition will control form behavior if the reset session is invalid. Let's add a new condition, and name it as Invalid Session. Under the If label, let's select Form as the object to be checked, and Submit Error as the event. Under the Then label, first, let's hide the form by selecting Form Section and setting its visibility as hidden. Now let's display the error message, by clicking on the plus icon again, selecting Invalid Message, then setting its visibility to Visible. Once done, we can remove all events under the else label if auto-generated. Save this condition, close it, and move it under the blank keys. Our third and final condition will handle the successful submission of the reset form. Let's add a new condition and name it Reset Success. As before, under the if label, we will select Form as the object to be checked, but, this time, Submit Success as the event. And as before, under the Then label, we will first hide the Form section, and then set the success message as visible. Once done, we will remove all events under the Else label if auto-generated. Leaving this condition in its current position, let's click on Save and Close to save all changes and minimize the view. Before we finish, we need to disable the default WordPress message notifications and enable the Enter Key form submission, as we did for previous forms. Click on the Form Settings gear icon at the top, and in the Form section tick the box, Enable Form Submit on Enter, then scroll down to the Errors section, and uncheck the box, Show Server-Side Error Messages. Now, let's save and close the form settings and publish our reset form. If we try to preview the form, we will be redirected to the home page, demonstrating that our blank keys conditional logic is doing its job. And this is precisely why we have to temporarily disable our blank keys logic, for if we leave it active, we won't be able to construct our Elementor reset pop-up. So, let's open our logic settings, and, next to the blank keys condition, click on the stop icon to disable it. Let's click Save and Close, and publish our form to save the changes. Now if we click on Preview again, we see our form without redirection. Bravo! For we have just completed the most complex part of our tutorial, building our forms with WS Form Pro and the User Management add-on. Part 11, Elementor Header. Okay, let's dive into Elementor Pro. First, let's create our site's header by going to Templates, Theme Builder, selecting the Header tab, and clicking on the Add New Header button. We will name it as Header, and click on Create Template. Let's close Elementor's template suggestions, and then add a new section with 2 columns. In the Layout tab of our section, set its vertical alignment as middle, then, in the Advanced tab, make its padding as 20 pixels on all sides. Now click on the Edit icon of the left column, and, in the Layout tab, set its horizontal alignment as Start. For the right column, in the Layout tab, set its horizontal alignment as End. We will add the site's title widget to the left column, and a button widget to the right. Open the button's Content tab, and set its alignment as right, then, in the Advanced tab, its positioning width as Inline Auto. Let's duplicate the button, then click on our first button to edit it further. First, in its Content tab, let's change the label to Login. Then, in the Advanced tab, let's assign the WP None_Login_ pop-up class in the CSS Classes field. This class will be the trigger for the login pop-up to open. Under the Stacks Visibility tab, let's enable visibility logic, leave the Show Hide action as Hide, and expand the User Role section. Enable the user role, and select Logged In Users from the Roles drop-down list. Let's edit our second button by first changing its label to Logout. As before, under the Stacks Visibility tab, we will enable visibility logic, leave Show Hide action as Hide, but in the User Role section, after enabling it, we will select Guests from the Roles drop-down list. Before we complete our header, we need to assign a custom link to our Logout button. For this, let's activate our third code snippet by going to the Snippets Browser tab, and clicking on the toggle switch button next to the WP None, Logout Redirect PHP snippet. I wrote this snippet inspired by the original script from Thomas Scholes, and I placed the link to it below the video. In essence, it allows us to use the short code, $logout, to set the home page as the destination for the after logout landing. It also masks the default logout link from the admin dashboard to redirect to the home page, instead of the default WordPress redirection to the default login screen. Back to editing in Elementor Theme Builder, let's assign the $logout shortcode as the link for our logout button. Let's publish our header to run on the entire site, then exit to Dashboard, and test it by going to the front end of our site as a logged-in user. Once on the front page of our site, let's click on the Logout button. Our Logout button works as expected, whilst our Login button is ready to trigger a pop-up. For the time being, to log in back to the dashboard, we will have to use the WordPress default link by navigating to wp-login.php. Let's log in back to the administrator's account and continue working with Elementor. Part 12, Close Pop-up Snippet. Now that we are back in the admin dashboard, and before we delve into pop-ups, let's activate our fourth required code snippet. In the list of all snippets, click on the toggle switch next to the WP None Elementor Close Pop-up PHP.js snippet. This snippet is a tandem made of two code blocks that feature JavaScript's popular jQuery library. The first block forces jQuery to be loaded in the website's head section, since some plugins sometimes try to place it in the footer, or even further below. The second block enables the WP None_close_pop-up CSS class as the trigger for closing Elementor's pop-ups. Let's start building our pop-ups. Part 13, Elementor Pop-ups. Creating pop-ups with Elementor Pro is a fun experience, and this is the last development part of our project. From the main dashboard menu, go Templates, Pop-ups, and click Add New Pop-up. Name it as Login Pop-up, and click Create Template. Close Elementor's Templates library, and click on the Settings gear icon in the bottom left-hand corner. In the Settings tab, under Layout, set the width as 350 pixels, and disable the Close button. In the Style tab, first, click on the circle arrow to remove the shadow box, then, under Overlay, set the color as entirely white and without any transparency. In the Advanced tab, enable the following three options: Prevent closing on overlay, prevent closing on escape key, and disable page scrolling. In the Open by Selector field, we will use the CSS class to trigger our pop-up, so type in .wp none_login_pop-up. From Elementor's Widgets menu, drag the WS Form Pro widget inside the pop-up box, and select Login Form as its content. Let's click on Publish, add the condition to display on the entire site, click Save and Close, and exit to Dashboard. From the Templates Pop-ups menu, add New, and name it as Forgot Pop-up. Bypassing Elementor's library, and clicking on the Settings gear icon, most of the Forgot Pop-up settings are the same as the Login Pop-up. In the Settings tab, set 350 pixels width, and disable the Close button. In the Style tab, set No Shadow Box, with entirely white, no transparency overlay. In the Advanced tab, enable the first three options. The only change is that we will use a different CSS class in the Open by Selector field for triggering this pop-up, namely .wp none_forgot_pop-up. From Elementor's Widgets menu, drag the WS Form Pro widget inside the pop-up, and select Forgot Form as its content. Now click on Publish, add the condition to display on the entire site, click Save and Close, then exit to Dashboard. Following our previous steps again, let's create our third and last pop-up, naming it Reset Pop-up. Bypassing Elementor's library, let's open the Settings panel by clicking on the Settings gear icon. In the Settings tab, set 350 pixels width, and disable the Close button. In the Style tab, set No Shadow Box, with entirely white and no transparency overlay. In the Advanced tab, enable the first 3 options. Only this time, leave the Open by Selector field empty. From Elementor Widgets menu, drag the WS Form Pro widget inside the pop-up, and select Reset Form as its content. Now as we click on Publish, our parameters will be different from the previous 2 pop-ups. Add condition, and select Singular instead of the entire site. Then select Pages. In the new field, start typing XYZ, and the title of our XYZ page will appear, so select it, then click Next. In the Triggers section, enable On-Page Load and set the delay value as empty, for the pop-up to open immediately. And only now, click on Save and Close, then exit to the admin dashboard. Now is the time for us to reactivate our blank keys logic. From the WS Form top bar menu, hover over Reset Form and select the Edit option. Go to the Conditional Logic panel by clicking on the double-headed arrow icon in the top menu, then click on the stop icon next to the blank keys condition to enable this logic. Click Save and Close, and publish the form to save the changes. Please note that if you want to amend the reset pop-up in the future, you must temporarily disable the blank keys logic before editing it in Elementor. We are now ready to perform the first test of our pageless login reset system. Part 14, Test 1. For the first testing session of our login reset system, I will use 2 browser windows, one on the site's homepage in standard mode, and one on the Mailhog page in incognito mode. Test 1, Standard mode. As a logged-out user, check the functionality of the links on both Login and Forgot pop-ups. Result: all links function well. Test 2, Standard mode. Submit the wrong credentials in both pop-ups. Result: error messages display correctly. Test 3, Standard mode. Request to reset the password twice, using the subscriber's email address, where the newer, second request will invalidate the first one. Result: Mailhog successfully received 2 email notifications. Test 4, Standard mode. Access the XYZ page directly. Result: attempted access redirects to the home page. Test 5, Incognito mode. Copy the first reset request link, open it in the new Incognito browser tab and submit a password for reset. Result: the invalid session error message is displayed with 2 links, the first for the Forgot pop-up to request a new reset session, and the second, redirecting to the home page. Test 6, Incognito mode. Copy the second, newer reset request link, open it in the new Incognito browser tab and submit a password for reset again. Result: password reset success with 2 links, the first redirecting to the home page, and the second for the login pop-up to log in with a new password. Test 7, Incognito mode. Log in using the subscriber's credentials. Result: successful login with redirection to the home page. Final, Test 8, in standard mode. Log in using the administrator's credentials. Result: successful login, with redirection to the admin dashboard. Conclusion: the WP None login reset system works well. The significant reservations are: first, logged-in subscribers can see the admin bar at the top. Second, logged-in subscribers can access the admin dashboard. Third, all WordPress default forms are accessible for both the logged-in and logged-out users. All 3 points of my reservations can be overcome with our 3 bonus code snippets, which we offer with this tutorial. Let's look at them now. Part 15: 3 bonus snippets. Let me describe the WP None bonus code snippets that are included with this tutorial. Please note that each of these snippets can be used on its own, outside of our system. The first bonus snippet, WP None Admin Bar Visibility PHP, displays the admin bar on the site's front end only to selected roles. In our case, we are displaying it only to administrators, but you can add other roles if you wish. The second bonus snippet, WP None Dashboard Access PHP, disables subscribers' access to the admin dashboard by redirecting them to the home page. And, of course, you can add other roles if required. And the third bonus snippet, WP None Prevent File Access PHP, prevents direct access to the wp-login.php file, with an instant redirect to the home page. This restriction also prevents visitors' access to the wp-admin URL. It also restricts access to the wp-signup.php file. If you plan to use the WordPress default registration method, you would better keep this snippet disabled. I plan to feature my new pageless registration method in future tutorials, so please let me know if this is of interest to you. For now, since these snippets enhance the security of our WordPress site, let's upload and import the WP None login bonus snippets JSON file, using the Code Snippets plugin. Once imported, let's activate all 3 snippets for our second and the last testing session. Part 16, Test 2. In our second test, let's first log out from the admin account. Test 1. Try to access the following pages: wp-admin, wp-login.php, wp-signup.php. Result: all 3 destinations are inaccessible, with redirection to the home page. Test 2. Log in as subscriber. And try to access wp-admin and wp-login.php. wp-signup.php. Result: all 3 bonus snippets fulfill our expectations. I hope you have enjoyed this tutorial and will apply this method in your projects. Perhaps this hasn't been an easy course to get through, but if you have followed me step by step, I am sure that you have achieved the best possible result. You can express your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know if there are topics of WordPress that you would like me to focus on in my future videos. Please like and share this video, and subscribe to my channel. All the very best. Your WP Nun.